a big adventure in a miniature world of crafts. In a world made of stuff like boxes and paper cups, Yoshi will leap up high, gobble enemies, and hustle on by. Many unusual obstacles litter the landscape. A well-placed egg could open a new pathway. You could turn the stage on its head, or flip the perspective. Explore every nook and cranny to track down hidden collectibles and make it to the goal. Along the way... Right, Yoshi? Yoshi's Crafted World releases in spring 2019. Tabletop gaming is a perfect fit for Nintendo Switch. And to prove it, Asmodee Digital, a leader in card and board games, is bringing full adaptations of best-selling tabletop games to the system. Build a medieval world in a full adaptation of the award-winning Carcassonne, complete with 3D maps, solo mode, 4-player local multiplayer, and the game's famous expansions available as paid DLC. Whether you play alone or alongside a second player, forge a powerful deck and a fellowship of 3 to face the forces of Sauron in each story-driven quest of the Lord of the Rings: The Living Card Game. Stop the spread of 4 diseases and cure them all on your own or in local 4-player multiplayer with Pandemic. Plus, it's individually priced DLC based on popular expansions. Thanks to Asmodee, this is just the beginning for tabletop gaming on Nintendo Switch. In addition to these titles, we can also confirm that even more is on the way, including one of the most popular board games ever, Catan, and a dungeon crawler based on Steve Jackson's iconic card game, Munchkin. Stay tuned. All great creations, even nations, begin with a spark. Hold an empire in the palm of your hands and turn friends into the Power Elite with exclusive 4-player local multiplayer. When Civilization 6 ushers in a new world on Nintendo Switch November 16th. Don't get too cocky, Star Fox. Playtime is over in Starlink. This interplanetary adventure will push you and Fox McCloud to your limits.
Let's be honest here. You guys need all the help you can get.
Peppy, Falco, and Slippy will provide much-needed backup in the new Nintendo
Switch
exclusive missions found only in Starlink Battle for Atlas.
You need all the help you can get for Star Fox.
Form up on me.
Over.
It's time to lock on, do a barrel roll, and save the Atlas star system, no matter who threatens to stop you.
Whoa.
Never thought I'd miss the food on Corneria.
Mix and match parts on your own R-Wing when Starlink Battle for Atlas takes flight October 16th.
Yeah, Starlink looks dope. I wanted that before, and then new Star Fox.
2 more great RPGs are coming to Nintendo Switch this fall. The World Ends With You Final Remix features an all-new story segment called A New Day, which contains a remixed map of Shibuya, so you'll really have to scramble to escape the area, or face erasure. New monsters will appear as well, and so will the Reaper, Coco. The World Ends With You Final Remix launches October 12th. Before then, Guide a group of legendary warriors on a journey through the tragic history that doomed a kingdom and drove a hero down a dark path 500 years before the events of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 game. Defend yourself from Malos and his forces using all the fury of this refined battle system, allowing you to fight as both the artificial life forms known as blades and their masters, the drivers. Newcomers will have the perfect place to start when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country, launches September 21st. Owners of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 expansion pass can download this new content tomorrow. That's a week early.
Dope.
Tons in store on Nintendo Switch, and even more in store for the future. Join more than 38 million players for free-to-play co-op space ninja action when Warframe launches November 20th.
Cool.
Get down to Camila Cabello, Bruno Mars, Cardi B, and more anytime, anywhere in Just Dance 2019 on October 23rd. FIFA 19 is fast approaching, and you can pre-purchase it on Nintendo eShop tomorrow, so you won't miss the ball when it launches September 28th.
Nah.
Speaking of fast, race as a team and win as a team in Team Sonic Racing, launching this winter. The highest-rated basketball simulation franchise is back. NBA 2K19 is available now on Nintendo Switch. And get ready to jam in the sequel to the smash hit NBA arcade game, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, coming this fall. Play as the Joker, Harley, Lex Luthor, and the rest of the best of the worst in the all-new LEGO DC Supervillains on October 16th. Final Fantasy comes to Nintendo Switch. Kubo!
Crystal Chronicles.
15 years after its debut, the co-op action RPG
the
Final Fantasy
other one's
Crystal
gonna come,
Chronicles is being
the
remastered
Wii
for
version.
Nintendo Switch. With the new online
I like that one
multiplayer,
better.
you and your friends can connect
It's,
and adventure
arguable.
together. No link cable required. On top of that, there are new areas inside dungeons, so even returning fans can explore the unknown.
It's gonna be cool.
Final
It'll be
Fantasy
cool playing
Crystal
that
Chronicles
online.
Remastered Edition will launch in 2019. Way before then, players can experience the entire world and story of the latest entry in the core series. That's right. Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition HD launches later today on Nintendo eShop at an introductory price.
Well, so much for worrying about when it
A
launches.
leveled up version of World of Final Fantasy is also on the way. This title includes a new feature called Avatar Change, which allows you to transform into legendary characters from across the series' storied history.
You won't be getting slighted, Nintendo fans, as far as the release
Many
date.
fan favorites will show up in the world
was,
of Final
initially
Fantasy
thought
Maxima
to
when
be
it
the
releases
case.
on November 6th. In addition, more Chocobo's Dungeon is on the way. 2007's Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon returns in superior fashion. Now, you can befriend all the monsters. Also, by sharing Joy-Con controllers, you can play cooperatively
Final
as
Fantasy
well.
7, 8, 9 collection would be pretty
Chocobo's
cool.
Mystery Dungeon Everybody launches this winter. Final Fantasy XII is coming to a Nintendo system for the first time. Its real-time battle system is a standout in the series.
Yay! Oh, no, I
Full
don't really
freedom
like
on
that.
strategy. This remaster comes
But
loaded
it's
with
cool.
a host of extra features, including a speed mode that lets you pick up the pace
It's
of your
cool that
adventure.
it's coming.
There's much to discover in the expansive world of Evilus. And now you can explore it on the couch or on the go.
It's a LOL for me,
Final Fantasy
Santiago.
XII, the Zodiac Age launches in 2019. Which reminds me, later on, you'll also be able to enjoy these other classics and their
What?
iconic scenes anytime,
We just said
anywhere.
that. That's funny.
Final Fantasy VII, 9, and 10 10.2 HD Remaster are coming to
9
Nintendo
where's
Switch
10 where was
in
it? Where's 8?
2019. Here's a bundle for the ultimate fan. If you love the Super Smash Bros.
I know,
series,
right?
check
King Boom,
this
where's
thing
8? 8 and 9 were my two favorites of that era.
out. A hardware bundle for Super Smash
That's
Bros.
weird.
Ultimate is on the way. This specially designed dock features fighters from the original Super Smash Bros. game, And of course, the set also includes a download code for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It's just
There's
the
no
dock.
better way to show
Or
your
is it
love
gonna
for the
be
game.
design on the back?
And the
The
set
console.
also packs in something you'll want to get your hands on.
Is that black and white? Come on.
These Joy-Con controllers
Crazy old
support
school.
a new
I'm so
design
gonna be
as
broke.
well.
I feel you.
This Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Bundle for Nintendo Switch will launch November 2nd. You can pre-order the special bundle later today. November
All that
2nd
color
is
on the
also
box.
day you can get your
You're
own
gonna put
GameCube controller
black and
adapter
white?
in GameCube Controller Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition while supplies last.
Also, it just says Nintendo.
That's all
not
the
Switch.
headlines for Nintendo Switch.
Still going well? Thank you all for watching. We have a bit more to show you. So, please stick around until the very end.
So that's it for Switch. What is this? Is this the cell phone game? Yep. Animal Crossing cell phone edition. Pocket Camp expansion. It said that's it for Switch, so what is this? Unless they were lying. Haha. It's a Smash Smash character reveal. So that's so cold. They be trolling with these Smash reveals. 12 feet. Did you think it was a 12 feet tall? Sorry, man. You thought it was a Animal Crossing game. They said, if you listen right before that, they said that's it for Switch. So unless this is for cell phone, this is not going to be a new Animal Crossing game. Might have missed that part. What are they doing now? Oh man. Oh, Mr. Nook. Alright, you gotta reveal a new Animal Crossing after that. Camping and smashing and whatnot. Yeah, come on. Get to the game. Quit playing around. Back to work for you on the new game. Come on. I need Animal Crossing. Quit playing games, Nintendo. Thank you. Thank you. I figured once Tom Nook came on screen after the reveal, they were also trolling again. Thank you. Very good direct. Excellent direct. Well paced, some nice surprises. I actually missed some stuff, which is super lame. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, and I'll do another video of impressions, proper impressions. So yeah, what do you guys think? I hope I didn't miss any like big game reveal. For whatever reason, my stupid PC has been dropping. It may do it again. I have no idea. My stupid PC has been dropping my internet connection just for fun, and I completely forgot about it. And I was gonna go in and check and see what was going on, because I forgot how much maintenance PCs require, you know. So yeah, it may drop again. I don't know. If it drops again, I'm just gonna end the stream. But I'm just want to give my thoughts, I guess. You know. Again, I might have missed some stuff. So if you guys were around and you watched, you know, me drop or whatever, let me know if there's a game I missed, because I might have missed something. Mad Final Fantasy. Mad Final Fantasy. See, I missed Capcom beat 'em ups. What was that? Jack Gates. What did I miss? Because my stupid computer, my stupid PC keeps dropping me, kept dropping me, so. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Somebody want to tell me? Somebody want to tell me what the beat 'em ups were? Was it a final fight? To not be outdone with Streets of Rage 4? Final Fantasy 7, 10, 12, Luigi Mansion 3. Thank goodness for that. Honestly, I would have been super happy with the support of Dark Moon, and so they went the extra mile. That's great. Collection of Capcom beat 'em ups, including some arcade collections or collection titles. Final Fight with online play. Final Fight with online play. Very cool. I missed that, but goddamn Capcom, you know. All the old Capcom arcade fighters are coming to Switch. I don't know how to spell Luigi. You got it. You got it close. That just that Y. You need to make it a I. 12 feet tall. That's all. Launching next week. Wow. I gotta rewatch it, and I'll do another proper video. But yeah, good direct. Couple of nice surprises in there. Well, a few nice surprises. Although some of the Final Fantasy stuff I knew was coming. I knew 12 was coming, but I didn't know about 7 and what was it? 7 and 9. 7 was it 7, 9, and 10? Yeah, 7, 9, 10, and 12. What? Why not 8? You know, I'm not gonna be upset about it. I just think it's weird. It's like, oh, you got all the other ones. Why are you crying about 8? I liked 8, and I just think it's weird they skipped over 8. What's the reasoning for that? Some kind of licensing thing? It's kind of strange. Enix might not know how to count, and maybe they don't. I don't know. All the PS1s, well, almost all the PS1s, Final Fantasy games are coming to Switch. Also, that Smash bundle is weak. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's a weak design. Like the characters, all that stuff is cool. I don't know if they did anything with the actual back of the Switch, so we still have to see on that. But the black and white, Smash, man, it's colorful. Put some color in that thing. Make the dot colorful. So when beforehand when I guess the rumor, the leak or whatever came out about the Smash bundle, I was like, well, might have to get that. I'm not too keen on getting it now. Not at all, really. So why would they cover Metroid Fusion though? Why would they cover Metroid Fusion? See, I missed some stuff. No Metroid 4 or Pokemon 4. No Mother 3. I wasn't expecting any of that. I thought maybe they'd show Metroid 4, but I said I didn't think they'd show it. Although there is a collection I thought they would show that I still believe is coming, so I'll hold off on that. The hell on PC Smash bundle looks cool. Says Haruhi, 12 feet tall, and Met Prime 4. Pikmin 5, Metroid. Yeah, none of those I was expecting to see. Falcon Black. Who expected Pokemon Gen 8? I didn't. I thought it was too soon. I mean, they're trying to sell Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so I didn't think they'd bring up Gen 8. LGPE this year. Gen 8. Oh yeah. What gen are we on? See, that's what happens because I don't follow Pokemon every year. But I think, yeah, Gen 8 is the new one, right? Or it's going to be the next big Pokemon game. So, now can all the people complaining about Animal Crossing please shut up for the next 3 years? I never complained about Animal Crossing, but I thought it was time. And I'm glad that they're servicing it. 1080 Wave Race. I fully expect Falcon Black, 1080 Wave Race F-Zero. I expect those to be next year games. I really do. And I'll probably bring that up at an end of the year video or something. But I do expect to see those games coming back. Because you remember, I forgot who that Nintendo guy was. He mentioned those games specifically. And I think, you know, it was kind of a nod. I think they are coming. I expect Wave Race since Nintendo has actually talked. Yeah, Nintendo actually talked about that Neo Star. That's what I meant. I think that is actually coming. I actually think Wave Race, for some reason, Wave Race and F-Zero, to me, those all fit in kind of the same group. So Wave Race, F-Zero. I don't know about 1080. I don't know, because when 1080 came out, snowboarding games were kind of popular because you had like, what was the PS1 series? Cool Borders. You had Cool Borders, and those sold really well. It was like the extreme sports, like it was the extreme sports kind of era, late '90s, mid to late '90s, early 2000s. You know, you had the Dave Mirra games, R.I.P. Dave Mirra. You had, you know, a lot of stuff like that. So you had SXX that came out during GameCube, PS2, Xbox era. Those games were big. So I don't know. I feel like 1080 is kind of a product of its era, where I think Wave Race could still work because the mechanics of Wave Race, and obviously F-Zero will always work as long as Nintendo cares to do it. And Nintendo themselves haven't made an F-Zero game since GX or F-Zero X on the N64, because you got to remember F-Zero GX was made by Sega. They were developed by Sega. So Nintendo themselves haven't developed an F-Zero game since, you know, the late 90s. So that's kind of crazy. I don't know if they did the F-Zero on Game Boy Advance. They probably did. I don't know who did that one. So I could see 1080 turn up as part of a winter sports type of collection. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I just wouldn't want it to be watered down, because usually when you put stuff like that together, the individual games themselves are watered down. Because I was thinking about, oh, wouldn't it be great to have like a Nintendo Sports collection where you got like Excite Bike, and like the Excite Bike, the more sim Excite Bike we got on the N64, like that would be cool. And then, like, you know, throw in 1080 snowboarding, and maybe even Wave Race, because that fits too. And I just felt like if they did that, that each individual sport would be kind of watered down. It wouldn't be as, you know, quality. I wouldn't say it would be bad quality. I just said I'm just thinking it wouldn't be as solid on the gameplay or maybe even the visuals as a standalone game would be, because you'd be focusing on that one sport. So that direct was a travesty. Oh, well, I'm not gonna argue with anybody as far as the direct, what they feel about the direct, because some people love a direct and people over here would completely hate it. I thought it was a good direct. I thought it had some nice surprises. Um, I wasn't expecting, maybe I wasn't expecting what TriLink you might have been expecting, so that's why you thought it was a travesty. But I just felt like it was a solid, nicely paced, good direct, and yeah, the first good one this year, as far as I'm concerned. As far as like variety and content and stuff, so I thought it was good. You know, I didn't think it was great. I certainly didn't think it was terrible, but I thought it was a good direct. And I mean, who saw Luigi's Mansion 3 coming? Nobody. Everybody was, you know, you're either salty that the original Luigi's Mansion wasn't coming to Switch, or you wanted Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is what I wanted, to come to Switch, because I thought, you know, if we were going to get one, that's probably what we'd get. But no, we're getting a new one, which is great. So that's big. Got to look at Yoshi. What was it, Crafty Island or something? Another look at that. I mean, I expect that game to be great anyway, and it looks pretty good. We got the Final Fantasy kind of surprises, but like I said, I knew a couple of those were coming. I knew 12 was coming. I didn't really talk about it because I don't really care about 12. So, but definitely surprised by the other Final Fantasy games, like 7, no 8, 9, and 10. 10. I think 10 was kind of a surprise to me too. I pretty much knew 12 was coming, but 10 was a surprise. Crafting World. Is it Crafting World? Okay, because I heard somebody say Island, and now the Island is in my head, so it is Crafting World. That's what I said originally. Okay. But are we getting new Animal Crossing for Switch? Yeah. Did you miss that? That was the last thing they revealed. I knew the minute they brought Tom Nook on the screen after Isabelle. I knew after Isabelle was revealed, it was a troll, and she was revealed as a character in Smash. After that happened, and then Tom Nook comes on, I'm like, for maybe 2 seconds, I was like, oh, he's gonna be what do they call the characters when they're kind of similar? He's gonna be one of those characters. But now I was like, nope, this is a troll. This is gonna be the Animal Crossing game, especially. And then he started talking about, it's great to see my friends do new things, but I knew he was gonna say that was coming. So that was cool. That was a nice troll with a nice surprise. Because I think during the Wii U era, it would have just been a troll. There would have been no nice surprise. So that is what it is. So that's cool. I'm not sold on the online. No, I mean, online didn't do anything. You know, I'm a little bit higher on it, because there is something cool about being able to play online with family and friends that I can't play with anymore. So it's kind of like having the NES in some ways all over again. But you know, most of those family members don't care. They won't play it. They, you know, if they did, it won't be for very long. So, and I'm not, like I said, NES games don't move me as much as Super Nintendo or definitely N64 and GameCube games would move me online. So, yeah, the online is doing nothing. I like how they talked about you could play with your friends and blah blah blah. Like that was a new thing. We're already doing that. It made it seem like, oh, this is a new thing coming to the Switch. No, we're already doing that. Cloud saves is. They didn't even mention the fact that cloud saves weren't for every game. That kind of bothered me. And I just, you know, if you're not gonna do cloud saves, allow me to back up my game on my own. You know, allow me to do that on my own. I don't know what the big deal is. Why can't I do that? You know, I did it on freaking Wii U. I could back up my games and stuff on Wii U. Why could I? Because if you do it this way, it seems like you're taking away a feature to charge for it. You're taking away my ability to back up stuff, and then now you're charging for it in the cloud for cloud saves because it's locked behind a paywall. So that's just kind of whack, you know. PSP from 2005 had more features than the Switch. That may be true in some ways. Sadly, I don't care for online anymore now. I just want to pay. I just don't want to pay for online, even if it's cheap. I just don't want it. Yeah. At least if you're gonna charge me, make me feel like I'm getting something, you know, worthwhile. And I don't feel like that right now. The game's not saved on SD cards. Yeah, they your save files. How does it work? See, I don't want to because I know you can transfer to a new console, but if something happens and it's corrupted, uh, like your saves and your games, if something happens, because that happened on my Xbox, like for whatever reasons my hard drive got corrupted, and I was freaking out because I wasn't paying for Xbox Live, and I was freaking out. I remember I think I even did a couple videos about it, or at least talked about it during podcasts, and I was freaking out because I was like, man, all my saves. I'm not paying for Live, and then somebody was like, no, you don't have to pay for Live for your cloud saves. All you got to do is just reinstall everything, and all your saves are there. And I still didn't believe it until I did it, and I was like, oh, this is great. But I don't need cloud saves if I can back up my data. And I know why they don't do it, because it opens the gate for piracy and just doing what do you call it? Uh, Being able to basically play games on your Switch illegally. What is it called? I can't think of the terminology for it. But the Switch is so crackable already. Like people are hacking the hack. Yeah, basically hacking it. People are hacking the crap out of the Switch already. So stopping people from backing up their games is not gonna help, you know, unless you have some kind of magic pill that you're gonna put into the Switch's put into the Switch's update for next week, which I doubt. I don't think the minute you do that, the hackers will find a way. So allow people to back their stuff up and feel safe. You know, and this cloud saves thing wasn't a big deal. If they said, oh, it's only for certain games, so what? I can back my stuff up on a hard drive. I can back it up on a computer or something. Now I'm pretty sure I can copy. I know I can because I've done it just out of fear. You can copy and paste like your Nintendo folder that's in your SD card onto whatever you want, but I'm not sure if that would entail your save data being restored. I don't know. I'm guessing no, but I'm not sure about that. So you can technically back up like I said, your Nintendo folder that's basically your file storage on your SD card. But that's it. You can't back up system memory. You can't back up what you store in your system, as far as I know, because or excuse me, let me. I don't know if you can. I don't. What I'm trying to say is I don't know if you can back up the saves that are in your SD card, because the Switch has its internal, and then it has your storage or whatever card size you get. So I don't know. I don't know what you're able to do, because a lot of my stuff that I initially saved, you can't transfer it. You can't transfer stuff that was saved to your internal memory to your card. And maybe there was an update that you could do that now. I don't know. I don't think so, because there are games like 2K19 that require internal 5 gigs of space. So it's just I don't know why they're doing this. So custom firmware. Yeah, custom firmware, stuff like that. You know, King Boom. Pokemon is run by Pokemon Company, says Rui. Blizzard Grunt. Backing up, people just download Splatoon 2 files with all the cool weapons. I mean, that is true. I mean, that's a thing that people will do. But you have to find another way as a company to combat that. Punish all your you can't punish all your customers because people hack, because people hack your console. I shouldn't be punished as a customer who doesn't do anything wrong, who doesn't engage in any of that stuff. Why? And overwhelmingly, the 20 plus million people who have a Switch aren't doing that. You have maybe a few thousand people that will do that. So, you know, why should I get punished because you didn't secure your game well enough? So, I would like them to explain that they're looking it down like this. I can only think they don't want willing to give any openings. I really Super Sizer says really like Miiverse. Actually, I don't get why they threw it away. Me neither. I don't get why they threw Miiverse away. You can have Miiverse and you can still have the Twitter thing, but as a gamer, obviously most people who follow me know about me through my YouTube channel. And they follow me because of gaming, so there's still that universe there. But still, there was something different about Miiverse because it was locked away from all the BS. That was very cool. There are Nintendo fans defending this trash service. Yes, there are. I don't get why they got rid of Miitomo. Is Miitomo gone? I didn't even know. I stopped using it so long ago. I don't care. I just joined this for the deals. Yeah, so I'm not gonna keep this going much longer. I thought it was a good direct, like I said, nice surprises, and it was solid pacing and all that stuff. So that was very good, especially after the hiccups, because of what happened, the tragedy in Japan, and quote unquote leaks coming out that were probably going to be in the direct, especially because of that. This could have been a worse direct, I guess is the best way to say it. But I still thought, even with everything that came out, it was still a very solid direct. So kudos for them on that. But I didn't think they'd show any Nintendo Online stuff. I'm surprised by that. But even the part of me that thought they maybe could have shown stuff, I knew it wouldn't be anything detailed or deep. So here we are, still a week away from Nintendo Online service, and with pretty sparse details. And if we do know everything, it's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless you guys got some questions for me, I'm gonna end this thing. Get me something to eat. I haven't eaten all day. That's what made Miiverse so great. Final Fantasy VII on Nintendo system. Am I dreaming? That is strange, but I welcome it. I mean, I have Final Fantasy VII, 8, and 9 on PlayStation, but it is convenient to have games that I still will go back to on my current system. But being the retro gamer that I am, it's not that big of a deal because I have systems hooked up, my old system. So, but it still is cool. I like how they just ignored Final Fantasy VIII in the announcement. It's so strange. That's such a strange choice to skip over 8. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it, and then I'm gonna do a proper video. Uh, really digging into my thoughts on it. So, Yeah, if there's nothing else. Is Final Fantasy VIII good? Yes, I really like Final Fantasy VIII. I actually like the order of the PlayStation One Final Fantasies go for me, and honestly, it goes back and forth on 8 and 9. One day I'll tell you 8, another day I'll tell you 9. So it goes back and forth in those two, and then 7 is my third favorite on the system. But I mean, they're all really good, so obvious, duh, So it's not like I'm saying any of them are bad. It's just for me. Yeah, I just meant, yeah, 6, 7, 9. 6 trumps, pretty much trumps them all again. Um, but 6, 7, and 9 for you, Harui. That's cool. Yeah, I think same thing, Neostar. I think 8 and 9 are better than 7. And they probably should be, because obviously Square was getting their feet wet with PlayStation hardware with 7. So once they really understood it and got into the groove, it makes sense that the other two are better. And I get why some people pick 7. Obviously, they're remaking 7, and or remake. Yeah, remaking. They're remaking 7. They're not remaking 8 or 9, which I still think. I think 8 would probably be the most awesome remake, but there's a reason for that, because there's a cult following for 7 over the other ones. I'm not sure I get why, but I don't completely get why, but I get it. Yeah, it was ambitious. 7 was ambitious. I mean, they all were pretty ambitious. They, that's why they went to PlayStation, because they couldn't, do what they wanted to with the storage of the Nintendo 64 cartridge. So, right, it was a big thing. 7 was a big thing because the Square RPGs were with Nintendo up until that point. You know, and that was huge. That was a huge thing. Had Tifa, yeah, yeah. I get. I mean, like I said, there are things in there that are pretty iconic. Obviously, Tifa. So I'll give credit for 7 being groundbreaking, but it's really rough in many aspects. Yeah, I feel the same way. 7 is groundbreaking. You know, um, honestly, the same way um, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is groundbreaking. There's some things that in that game that I wish they would bring back. Like, I love the whole instruments aspect of Zelda that came. Basically started with mostly. Oh, there it goes. It there that goes. It basically mostly started with Link to the Past, but it wasn't the ocarina and whatnot wasn't a big part of that game. The music and all that stuff really got big in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and they dabbled a little bit with it in Wind Waker, but yeah. So Ocarina of Time, I think, will always be my favorite, even though it's not the best. I don't think it's the best Zelda. I think the best Zelda is Breath of the Wild, um, arguably, with Link to the Past, and then Ocarina of Time right there. But because of the impact of Ocarina of Time, it probably will always be my favorite. It's kind of like Mario 64. I think Odyssey is a better game, and not just because of the visuals or any of that stuff, or even controls. I give the controls a pass because that was of its era. Um, I just think ingenuity wise, it was great. I think I feel like Mario 64 left some things on the table, and that's why they were going to do that expansion thing with the N64 DD for Mario 64. Um, because I think they had already delayed the 64, and it was basically because of Mario 64 not being done. So they had planned more for Super Mario 64, but there was pressure on Miyamoto to get that thing done. They had a year, and You know, they were supposed to come out in '95 with it, and it didn't happen because they were still kind of learning the hardware. So the impact of Mario 64 was felt, even though it left some things on the cutting room floor, some things to be desired. Um, so Mario 64 will always be in here over everything else, as far as, especially as far as 3D platformers go. But are there better ones? Technically better? Yeah, sure. I don't think gameplay wise there's a one that's better than 64 outside of Odyssey. I think Odyssey gameplay wise is better. But again, it's also of its period, of its time period. So, um, by I guess you probably already gone, Jack. By Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild engine would be amazing. Oh my gosh, that would be. Final Fantasy X. I like Final Fantasy X. I also like that. I probably will pick that up again. Um, I did like it. I just didn't think it measured up to the other ones. I can still play Ocarina of Time, and yeah, same with me. 12 feet tall. I can I can pop on Ocarina of Time right now and run through it. Remember most of everything that's about it. My favorite dungeon is probably the Forest Temple, which is the first one, the first dungeon when you're an adult. I just think it's so clever. The puzzles, it's so the music, that eerie music. Like I remember that vividly in my mind, playing that into the wee hours of the morning in 1998, fall of '98, and like my girlfriend calling me, my girlfriend at the time calling me and being like, "Are you still playing Zelda?" Because she could hear um, the music in the background on the phone. She's like, "Are you still playing Zelda?" It's like, "Yes, yes, dear." Um, yeah, Echo. I don't know why I couldn't think of Echo. Isabelle is an Echo character. Uh, you still leave or is YouTube glitching? No, I'm live. I don't know if YouTube's glitching or not though. But everything's yeah, everything's showing that I'm live. So I prefer Ocarina of Time over Breath of the Wild. I'm not a huge fan of that game. That's fine. I mean, I think Breath of the Wild, like I said, had some things to be desired. I think obviously a big thing of Zelda is the dungeons, and uh, Breath of the Wild, the way it's set up, could never match the dungeons in Ocarina of Time. So memorable dungeons and bosses and just items. Um, Breath of the Wild couldn't do that, but you know, yeah, over the years I've probably put hundreds of hours in Ocarina of Time for sure. But on my first playthrough, I didn't put that. Obviously they're different games. Breath of the Wild is huge, but I just think it was very ingenious in many ways. Harken back to the original Zelda somehow, and it still worked. And also just homaging and bringing in things from all the other Zeldas. So it learned. So that was pretty cool. What's good? Oh, Nia's up in here. What's up, Nia? I didn't see. Spirit Temple was better design. Yeah, I think Spirit Temple was a better design in many ways, but I just there's something about like you said, you find one that you just remember, you just pick, and that's your one. Like Spirit Temple was pretty damn cool because you had to go through it small and big. That's isn't that the one you went through it? You had to go through it as a kid Link and adult Link. I mean, that's just genius. That's just damn genius. But I think the pacing, the puzzles, the music, all that in the Forest Temple was just like mind blowing. And after having your mind blown by being asleep for 7 years and growing up to be adult Link and looking out at the world and how crazy it was, having that be the first dungeon as your adult Link, I mean that's just I think that had a lot to do with it. So, um, Link to the Past is my first Zelda. Yeah, it's a lot of people's first Zelda, Link to the Past. Um, I'm old, so the original Zelda was my first Zelda, and I remember just playing that and playing it and playing it and being lost, not knowing what to do, just kind of making your own. Back in those days, there wasn't you couldn't just jump on the internet and figure stuff out. So it was trial and error. So back in those days, you keep a notebook. The notes that came in the back of the your what's it called? The little booklet that came with the game, the instruction booklet. It would come with notes in the back. We actually used those back in the day. We put notes in because, unless you were calling Nintendo hotline and making your mom's, oh, there's my alarm, making your mom's crazy by doing that, run up the phone bill. That's not a thing that was happening. Unless you were doing that, then you didn't know what to do. So my cousins and whatnot, we'd all play the game. We'd share. Well, what did you do here? What did you do? That kind of thing. And that's how we beat games. So yeah, that's what I like about the Forest Temple Linnea. It was creepy. The art gallery, the whole the Poe picture thing. Like it was just such a clever ass dungeon, man. It was great. So loved it to death. Yeah, Zelda is the greatest. It's I go back and forth with Zelda and Mario, but Zelda's again, arguably Zelda is my favorite gaming franchise of all time. Um, it's great. It's just great. The Water Temple in Ocarina was amazing. Like a lot of people don't like the Water Temple Ocarina of Time. I don't know what we're talking about this now. We just had a direct, but I just started talking about Zelda. But yeah, the Water Temple never really gave me that many fits. I mean, I would make mistakes here and there that annoyed me because you had to go back and kind of go through the levels again. But it was your own fault. It wasn't like you know it was cheap. It was tricking you or anything. You just had to remember what to do. Again, you had to write stuff down. And in those days, you did have the internet, and people had little what do you call them? Strategy, not strategy guides, but I guess you call them that, strategy guides, where people would have on the internet and you can look at, and so that was the thing. But there was something just cool about that era. I found it more annoying than anything. I never hated it. Yeah, it definitely it was annoying at times, but it was only annoying because you weren't paying full attention, and it wasn't being cheap. It wasn't that kind of a thing. It was just that you had to really pay attention to what the water was doing and how you were doing it to get through that one. So yeah, Metroid's next year. Water Temple wasn't straightforward. Yeah, it wasn't straightforward. That's probably the best way to put it. And it had one of the weakest bosses. I don't remember the boss's name, but it was just like that. I call it the Abyss Monster, because it had the little wavy water thing that had like a brain or whatever it was that was such a weak boss. And it's in a pool. It was a cool reveal because you thought it was going to be this cool monster that came out. And it ended up being just a little wavy abyss water tentacle. Yeah, with the membrane in it. And it's just like, that really? That's kind of weak. That's pretty weak sauce. I just watched a top 10 worst Zelda bosses, and that was certainly high up. I think it was like number 3 or 2 as the worst. But yeah, it was pretty weak, pretty weak. After all that, you would think it would be a little bit more ingenuity in the design of that boss. But everything can't be all great in a game. So there's always going to be stuff that people don't like. I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's a great game, but there's some things about it I don't like. You know, I don't like the fact that there's 4 dungeons and they're very samey. But I get why there are 4 dungeons, and I get in the context of the world, those dungeons make sense. The beasts make sense. But you know, coming from the Zeldas that we had before, just kind of wasn't happy with it overall. But N64 could. What do you mean N64 couldn't render water? Okay, like the Dreamcast. Well, uh, uh, I don't remember Dreamcast water being all that memorable. I think there were a few games. Um, there's a if I don't know if you guys are subscribed to Digital Foundry, but they did a video not too long ago talking about like water physics in games. It was so good. It was a really good. I think it was a 2-part kind of video, 2-part mini-series, and it just talked about like water in video games and how cool it was. And you know, obviously Wave Race was in there. That was a big part of it. Wave Race, Blue Storm for GameCube was a big part of it. But there was other examples that I just had forgotten about, and I was like, oh yeah, that the water in that was great. Um, Blinks the Time Sweeper for Xbox. That game has some really cool water effects. Visually, it's a really nice looking game to begin with, but the water effects in that game are memorable and do stand out. So, yeah, go check out that. I forgot what it's called, but it has to do with water physics and water effects in games. But I think the N64 did pretty cool things with water. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Nia, I did see some things that I liked a lot actually. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion. I've been wanting a new Luigi's Mansion ever since Dark Moon came out. Ever since I beat Dark Moon, I should say, on 3DS. So you know that was epic. I mean, to me, that's my. I can't say that because Animal Crossing was at the end. We didn't see anything, so that's why I can't put it above Luigi's Mansion right now. But you know, Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion, those were the best things about this direct. And um, unless you don't like those, unless you don't care for those series, I don't see how you didn't think this direct was good. At least good. But if you don't care for Luigi's Mansion or you don't care for Animal Crossing, then so what, right? I mean, there was other things in there. The Switch. This just reiterates the fact that the Switch is going to be a very diverse system. I have zero qualms about or zero problems about the games that come out for Switch outside of what Nintendo has done this year. You guys see me all the time buying games. I just bought Fractured But Whole. Um, I'm buying games all the time on the Switch, and it's one of my favorite systems of all time already. At this point, it's just it could be even better than that. It could be a solid, you know, making maybe even knock N64 solidly out of my lead. You know, and obviously I have reasons why I like that console is the timing of it. You know, my fandom at the time and all that stuff. The impactful, huge, big, epic games it had. But it could be right up there with it if it wasn't for these stupid shortcomings, these pointless, unnecessary shortcomings. Obviously, N64 didn't have online and stuff. So I'm comparing it era to era. N64 in its era and Nintendo Switch in its era. And all the cool things that the Switch does, it just it's just baffling on some of its shortcomings. And it's just sad because it could be, you know, that go-to console for most everybody. If it just did these few other things better. So, but yeah, there was some great stuff, Nia. Um, Nick, what's that? Infante, 1992. What's up? What's up? The game lineup would be better next year. I think next year is going to be stellar. I think 2019, which is so weird because maybe outside of 99, 1999 was a pretty epic year for video games in general. But I think on the Switch, we'll remember 2019 as one of those years, you know, like we fondly remember 98, you know, 99 I think is even in that There was some greatness that came in '99. I think when it's all said and done, 2019, not just for Nintendo, but obviously for the Switch itself, is going to be pretty epic. But I think gaming in general, because if what is it, Cyberpunk lives up to 80% of what they're showing, my goodness, that game is going to be stupid amazing. Like, anytime you throw punk in something, I'm paying attention. Anytime you throw cyber, futuristic sci-fi into something, I'm paying attention. And you put cyber and punk together and it looks that good, like, my goodness, I'm hyped. So I think 2019, like I said, for all games will be great, but for the Switch and Nintendo, I think it's going to be one of their most epic years in the history of Nintendo. And I'm not afraid to say that. I really feel like it's going to be, I think, 2017 is remembered fondly because there were some really good surprises, especially towards the end of the year, as far as third-party stuff that came. And obviously you had, game changers like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey all in one year. So the impact of that year, because of what Nintendo put out, was epic. But I think the volume and quality of what we're going to get in 2019 is going to be insane. Ultra, what's up, man? How you doing, my brother? Thanks for joining my stream. Still waiting on Shin Megami Tensei 4. I mean, yeah, that is still a 2019 game, right? Shin Megami Tensei 5. Fire Emblem, The Three Houses. I believe Metroid Prime. They haven't given us a year, but I believe Metroid Prime will be next year. And like I said earlier, I think some of those kind of storied franchises will show up. I believe Wave Race will show up because Nintendo themselves talked about Wave Race this year. Nobody asked them about it. I don't believe in that interview anybody asked him. He just brought it up. So I believe that'll happen. I believe F-Zero will happen. I feel like Mother 3 could happen. I said that before, I think it was in the Juice to Lose podcast, that I think the N64 Mother 3 they were working on could be something they go back to and bring us, that Mother 3, that Earthbound game, instead of the one that came out on Game Boy Advance, only in Japan. But there are fan translations out there. You can buy a cart for the Game Boy Advance that is in English for that game if you really, really, really want it. It's out there, and it is the game. But I think stuff like that have a potential to show up on the Switch. So I feel like 2019 is gonna be disgusting. And not only that, not only the games that we're gonna get, I think we'll get really good announcements too. I think we may hear some noise about the next Mario or even the next Zelda. 2019, we may hear noise about that. What they're working on. There's no way I don't think Nintendo's gonna let Breath of the Wild just sit there and not. I'm sure they're working on one right now. I'm sure they're working on a follow-up to Breath of the Wild. I'm sure they're working on a follow-up to Odyssey. Odyssey is the type of game that I know that there's like 1,000 things they cut from it, because it's such a smart game. It's such a how do you put it? Ingenious as far as the gameplay goes type of game, that I know that there's stuff they cut from that game, or at least save for the next Mario game. So it's gonna be crazy. I think even the next Mario, and obviously we're gonna get even more third-party support. I think we'll get this is stuff that helps shore up the Switch's audience. People, scoff at ports. I do too, to some degree. Like, I think me specifically Wii U ports, because I was all in on the Wii U, so I had all those games. And then if you're not doing anything too crazy to it, they don't amaze me. And when you have a year like this where you had so many, especially pretty close together, that makes it stand out. But I don't mind ports. I buy ports. I bought ports. You know, I talk about buying ports all the time, and I think the Switch is a really good system for PS3, Xbox 360 games to come to it. Games that Nintendo fans maybe have never touched. Some Nintendo fans, because you know a lot of us Nintendo fans are multi-console owners, and we played those games. But even like me, like I think Saints Row is pretty cool to be coming to the Switch, especially if it's $20, which I think it will be. I think it will be a $20 game, and I think that is great. And there's a reason they didn't bring 4. People are like, why didn't they bring 4? Because 4 is not as good as 3. You bring the good one because you want it to sell. You don't bring the last one just because it was the last one. So I think people will scoff at it and make fun of it if they will. Oh, you're getting 360 PS3 ports, but I think 360 PS3 ports to a handheld console is pretty damn cool, and that's what that does. That is a difference. That does add something to it, because I'm willing to go through my or rebuy some of my 360 games to play on Switch, because I just think that aspect of like portable play with those games is cool. Because that era of gaming, games really looked really good in those days, and to have that on a small screen that you could take everywhere, on a nice little screen, HD screen you could take anywhere, that is a cool thing. And like I said, there's games that were really good in that era that didn't sell well, like Enslaved I mentioned before. I feel like Enslaved is coming because I did mention a game called Kingdoms of Amalur, talking about games that I would like to see. And then I think THQ went out there and bought the IP or acquired the IP of Kingdoms of Amalur. That game is coming to Switch. Kingdoms of Amalur, mark my words, is coming to Switch. It's going to come to everything else too, I think. The game didn't sell well. It's a really good game. I think it didn't sell well because of the timing that it came out and all of the drama surrounded with it. But it is a really good game, and I would buy that game again in a heartbeat to play on my Switch because it's good. I think games like that will find a nice home on the Switch. Games that, like Remember Me, didn't sell well. It is a gorgeous game. Gameplay could be better, like the combat system. Gameplay is fine. It's just the combat system isn't as deep as it wants to be. And like a game like that, that'll be a new game to most people. Remember Me, I think it's a Capcom game or a Capcom published game. It came out on 360 really late, and a lot of people just kind of missed it. But it's a good game. So I think stuff like that will have a nice life on the Nintendo Switch. I said I was gonna get out of here. Here I'm running my damn mouth as usual. But I'm a gamer. I'm a passionate gamer. I get really excited about talking about games. So, Cyberpunk won't be 2019. I don't know. I think it will be, but I'm not sure. Harui. Return of casual Nintendo. 2018 was the return of casual Nintendo. Yeah, and as far as their first party stuff, definitely. Starlink, Nintendo Switch, play anywhere, anytime, except online with your friend. I can't. There's nothing I can say about that. You're on with that. I wish Activision would bring some old Call of Duty games over. Yeah, I mean, they would sell. I think they would sell. I hear Nintendo fans say that all the time. All right, you don't want to bring Black Ops 4? Fine. Bring over Modern Warfare 4. What is it? What's the one that's most popular? Everybody's favorite go-to Call of Duty. Bring that over. You know, do some cool things with it. Make it, make it a Switch game in some ways, and I think fans will love it. I think Nintendo fans would love that. Would you buy Black Ops Collection if it came? Who's asking that? Professor Smooth. I'm not really a big Call of Duty dude. Like, I'll buy one every once in a while. Like I like Black Ops series. I bought 2 and 3. Um, I didn't play 3 as much as I played 2. I played 2 a lot. I have Modern Warfare on Wii. I have a few here and there, going back to what, GameCube. But like I'm not a first of all, I'm not a big competitive FPS online shooter guy. But every once in a while I will dabble in them. A collection wouldn't be for me, but I'm sure guys like Red Knight would love that. There's a lot of Nintendo fans who are Call of Duty fans, so that would be a cool thing. Uh, I feel like Metroid is 2020. I don't know. I thought it was coming in 2018, so that's why I really feel like it's a 2019 game. Um, but we know zero about it. Like, there's no news about its development or anything. There's no even rumors about its development. So um, that could be a great thing or it could be a disastrous thing. But we'll see. I do believe it's coming in 2019 though. Isn't 2018 Final Fantasy's anniversary 30th anniversary? Is it? Because original Final Fantasy was that 88 it came out? I think it was 88. So yeah, it could be next year, could be the 30th. Surprised no additional info for Bayonetta 3. I didn't think Bayonetta 3 would be here. Honestly, I think the first hint or look or whatever real trailer, because we got a little teaser thing that we'll get for Bayonetta 3 will be the Game Awards. I think that's probably the best place to show a game like Bayonetta 3. If you're going to show it this year, would be Game Awards or a solo Nintendo Direct only about that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Nintendo wants a little pomp and circumstance, so I think that's the best place for any Bayonetta 3 stuff would be a Game Awards kind of trailer. Oh, and somebody else says that too. Harui says that. He agrees. Here, Harui, I think that's he. Harui. I wish Atlas makes Persona 5 Crimson on Switch. That's possible. I think Persona 5 is a possibility. Unless there's some kind of exclusivity thing between them and Sony. As far as consoles go, anyway, I think that's very possible. I think Persona 5 would do great, even to this day on Switch. I still haven't bought it yet, but I would definitely buy it on Switch. No date was given for Bayonetta 3. The word was Metroid was in playable form. Okay. So Metroid, I think, unless Nintendo was completely out of the gourd and doing something they never do, which is show a game super early, or at least announce a game super early. That's not something Nintendo usually does, and I think they did it in 2017 because they, obviously they had Metroid for 3DS coming. I think they did it then because they wanted to let fans know they weren't messing around on the Switch. We will get a new Metroid Prime on the Switch. But I feel like the game was in development for quite some time. If it wasn't like if we weren't coding yet for Metroid Prime 4, if there was no coding done or at least starting up yet for Metroid Prime 4, I believe a lot of concept stuff was done, and that is a huge part of a game. People may not realize that or they don't think about it that much, but concept design, story, getting your story, all that stuff is huge because you can go into the game development, with a blueprint, which is very important. So even if it's just that's the stuff that was just done was concept and like world building and world design. If that was the stuff that was done before the Switch was, on the market, I think that's still a huge step to what they want to do and for timing wise. But I do think I don't think they would have showed, even just the announcement in 2017 and the game not be at least 2 years away, no more than 2 years away. So that's why I think it's going to be a holiday 2019 game. So because I think it was in development before, well before the announcement. People seem to think, oh, they just put it up there. We're just starting on it. I don't think so. I think they were working on this game maybe even late 2015. Definitely, I feel definitely in 2016 they were working on it. So I actually think, I think Retro Studios was actually working on it, and it got handed off, so Retro could do whatever they've been doing for the last, umpteen years. And I think when we do get that game, it will be stellar. I think it will be out of left field to some degree. I think it'd be really cool. I don't think Bandai Namco is developing Prime 4. I think id is doing it. I think Bandai Namco is like the main developer, but I think like most games today, even from first party studios, they get help. So I would think, I don't know if id is helping, but I think maybe Panic Button maybe adding or giving some pointers, because they did a really good job with the port for Doom as far as like the speed wise and all that kind of stuff of the game, how it felt zippy even at 30 frames. So I think there's gonna be a bunch of studios working together on that, a game like Prime, because that you kind of need that for a game like Prime. It's not usually a one studio thing or one department thing. All right, so I bought Kingdoms of Amalur, says AJ34. It's a good game, right? Neostar, people like to joke about Amalur, but it is good. Yeah, I don't think people joke about the game itself. I think they joke about the drama surrounding the game. But the game itself is solid. Like, I'm not going to say it's a great game, but I think it's a really good game. So there's nothing to joke about when it comes to the game itself. It's just the drama, the seediness, the crookedness of how that game was funded. That's where the LOLs come in. Isabel isn't an Echo Fighter. This is Neostar Surreal Entertainment. So thoughts on Luigi's Mansion? I think I mentioned that already. I need to go back and look at it again, because I was kind of fumbling around when it started. The stream started. To give I'm gonna do a video specifically giving my deeper thoughts on what was shown. So at least the stuff that I cared about. So stay tuned for that. It should be up tomorrow. Same as movies, get storyboards going, the plot. Yeah, storyboards and, what we call in the movie industry a treatment. And a treatment, if you don't know, a story treatment, a scriptment is also referred to as, is your movie, actions, minimal dialogue, but you don't focus on too much dialogue. It's just beat by beat by beat where your story's going, or where your movie's going. So, where the characters are, if you think of a really cool line that a character would say, you throw that in there. But it'd be minimal dialogue. It's mostly about where they're going, what they're doing, what's moving the plot. That's what a treatment is, a scriptment. That's what it is. So it's minimal dialogue. And that's usually about, if you're writing a script, you want it to be around 90 pages for a nice solid script. A treatment is something you would do before the script if you're smart. And that would be about 35 to 40 pages. And it's just action, 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 what's going on. Oh, he walks into a room and they talk about blah. You don't get into the dialogue of that. You just say that's what happened, next scene, that kind of thing. So that is a big part of development in video games as well, is developing your story, where you're going, what's happening at what level in the game. All that stuff is huge. Obviously the coding part is time consuming and huge as well. But once you get that down, you're ahead of the game. You feel really good about where you're going. Once you get that stuff greenlit and you're happy about the what do you call it? When you're happy about the pacing, you're happy about the story and where it's going, the gameplay. You get all the gameplay elements and all that stuff down. That is, you're, as far as I'm concerned, you're 60% there. You're over half there, because that's the bigger part. One, game development or coding and all that stuff, you're just plugging in. It's like, you're just plugging in everything you need. Like if you're making a video and you're going to be referencing a lot of different stuff. The hardest part, one of the biggest parts of that is going out and getting all those clips. Getting the clips. Once you get the clips, once you get the clips together, it's still work. Obviously, it's still work. But once you get all the clips you want and you need, you feel so much better once you go into editing. Because if you start editing, you're like, all right, I said this here. Now let me go find that clip. That's not the way to do it. you're gonna be working on that video for weeks. What you want to do is go through your script. If you write a script for the video, you want to go through that and say, all right, I need this video here. I need this video here, and know timing-wise where you need it. So all you're doing is plugging it in, and that's what game development is. Once you're coding, you're just plugging in everything. You got your script, basically your storyboards, how this world looks. You're just plugging in all the assets and making them look good. At that point, you got everything down. So the biggest, most important part of the development is the pre-production. That's what's pre-production. You have pre-production, at least in movies. It's different in video games. You have pre-production, which is designing all the world and all that stuff, getting your script down, getting your plot down, pacing, all that stuff down, locations. That's pre-production. Your voice talent, if you don't have to have them there, but you want them there. You want to at least assign these people and know who you're going after for that. That's the pre-production. That's where you're getting all your elements together. Production, which is a big part of game design, obviously. You're just plugging in all the elements. You're plugging everything in. Right? And then post-production, after you got all that stuff, you got it all plugged in, you're just going back and saying, all right, I can tighten this up, make this look better. Or I can do this effect. It won't take much time. I can do this effect. And that's when you're doing voice work if you need it. That's when you're doing sound design if you need it. And that is an important part. That part is actually as important as pre-production, post-production. Because you might have a really good game, or a movie or whatever, but you can completely screw it up in post. You can completely screw it up. Or you can make, a good game great in post. You can't make a bad game. A bad game is a bad game. I can't remember the Miyamoto quote, but it's very true. It's true for video game design. It's true for editing and movie, productions. It's very, very true. You can't make a bad script a good movie. It's just not going to happen. You can make it watchable. You can make it more enjoyable with, explosions and really nice effects. But it's still, at the end of the day, not going to be that great. But you can screw up a good script with your post production and your production and your post production. You can screw that up. So, and that happens more often than not. So, yeah, blah blah blah. Rough outline. Yeah, rough outline is not good enough, but it's something. That's your starting point. A rough outline. But you want that when you actually go into writing your script, or when you actually go into developing your game, you want not a rough outline. You want a solid outline. You want to know solid, because you can change things as you go along. That will make it better, but you don't want to be going into production trying to make things better that weren't good to begin with, because what's going to happen is probably going to end up just cutting it, and it's going to affect the overall game. Version AJ released. All right, so I'm just rambling on about nothing right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this thing. But stay tuned for my more direct thoughts on the direct. I have to go back and watch the video again, because I missed some stuff. My stupid computer, it's been doing this. My PC, not my Mac, my PC just has been, whenever it feels like disconnecting me from the internet, it just does it. And I was actually worried about that, and I completely forgot because I haven't used it in a little bit. But it kept dropping my stream, which sucks. So I missed some stuff trying to get back in. But I thought I recovered pretty well both times, and it's holding right now, so that's good. But yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for my, like I said, my more on-point thoughts of the Direct. That video should be around, maybe even tonight, but definitely by tomorrow. And I'll be doing a stream tomorrow for Tea Talk, so please join me for that. Alright guys, thanks for watching and peace out.